Isabella Rodriguez carefully arranged white roses and baby's breath in the back room of Eternal Moments Wedding Chapel in San Antonio, Texas. At 47, with shoulder-length dark hair streaked with silver and warm brown eyes that seemed to see everything, Isabella had perfected the art of making beautiful arrangements while listening to the real stories behind the celebrations. "She only arranges flowers," Melissa Carter, the head wedding planner, whispered to her assistant Rachel Green as they watched Isabella work through the glass partition. "Why does every bride want to talk to her for an hour? We have actual planning to do." What Melissa didn't know was that Isabella's 20-minute consultations about flower preferences had become impromptu therapy sessions for couples on the verge of marriage, and sometimes on the verge of calling it off. Isabella's gentle questions about color choices and seasonal blooms were actually assessments disguised as small talk, drawn from 15 years as a licensed marriage and family therapist before her private practice closed during the 2008 recession. Isabella had taken the florist position at Eternal Moments out of necessity, not passion. At 45, finding new clients for therapy had proven impossible. Too many established practices were struggling, and starting over felt overwhelming. The wedding chapel offered steady work with benefits, even if arranging flowers felt like using surgical skills to tie ribbons. But Isabella discovered something unexpected. Couples planning weddings were often in crisis, and flower consultations became safe spaces for them to express fears they couldn't share with family or friends. Her trained ear caught the subtle signs of relationship distress hidden behind discussions of centerpieces and boutonnieres. When Jennifer Walsh spent 30 minutes debating between pink and white roses while mentioning her fiancé's drinking just on weekends, Isabella recognized the minimization patterns that preceded serious problems. When Michael Chen insisted on the cheapest options while his fiancée, Amy Liu, looked increasingly distressed, Isabella identified financial stress that could destroy their marriage before it began. Isabella's flower consultations became informal couples counseling sessions, where she used active listening, gentle probing, and strategic questions to help couples address underlying issues. She couldn't advertise her background. The chapel's insurance wouldn't cover unlicensed therapy, but she couldn't ignore couples heading toward preventable disasters. On a busy Saturday afternoon, Isabella met with David Rodriguez and Sarah Mitchell, a couple planning their October wedding. Sarah, 28 with anxious energy and tense shoulders, sat rigidly, while David, 31 with dismissive body language, checked his phone repeatedly during their flower consultation. "We just want something simple," David said without looking up. "Sarah's handling the details. I trust her judgment." Isabella noticed Sarah's flinch at the word trust and the way she avoided eye contact when discussing their ceremony. 20 years of therapy experience taught Isabella to recognize the signs of deeper conflicts masquerading as wedding planning stress. "Sarah, what flowers feel most meaningful to you?" Isabella asked gently, focusing on the bride, while noting David's continued phone distraction. "I used to love sunflowers," Sarah said quietly. "But David thinks they're too casual for a formal wedding." "They're not classy," David interrupted without looking up. "My family expects elegance." Isabella watched Sarah's shoulders slump and recognized the dynamic that would poison their marriage if unaddressed. "David, what do you think Sarah's favorite flowers say about her?" The question forced David to look at his fiancée for the first time during their consultation. I don't know. I guess I never thought about it. Isabella spent the next hour guiding them through a conversation disguised as flower planning, using the language of wedding aesthetics to help them discuss core values, communication styles, and expectations for their marriage. As their consultation continued, Isabella uncovered serious issues. David's family disapproved of Sarah's background. Sarah felt pressured to change fundamental aspects of herself for the wedding, and neither had discussed important topics like finances, children, or career priorities. Sarah mentioned sunflowers represent loyalty and devotion, Isabella said carefully. David, what qualities drew you to Sarah initially? The question cracked David's dismissive facade, leading to an emotional conversation about how wedding planning had transformed their relationship into a power struggle rather than a celebration of their love. We used to talk for hours, Sarah said, tears flowing. Now every conversation becomes an argument about guest lists or flowers or what his mother expects. Isabella recognized the classic pattern of couples losing themselves in wedding performance rather than marriage preparation. Using techniques from her therapy practice, she helped them identify the source of their conflicts and develop communication strategies. What if we planned a wedding that reflected both of your values? Isabella suggested. Elegant sunflowers with sophisticated arrangements might represent the blend of your personalities. The flower metaphor became a framework for compromise, leading David and Sarah to address deeper issues about family pressure, personal identity, and their vision for married life. 2 weeks later, Melissa Carter overheard Sarah Mitchell on the phone with a friend. The florist at Eternal Moments saved our wedding. Actually, she saved our relationship. Isabella helped us work through problems we didn't even know we had. Curious, Melissa researched Isabella's background and discovered her extensive therapy credentials and 15 years of marriage counseling experience. The revelation explained why couples specifically requested Isabella's consultations, and why many seemed calmer and more connected after their flower appointments. Why didn't you mention you're a therapist? Melissa asked Isabella privately. Isabella smiled sadly. Would you have hired an overqualified counselor for floral arrangements, or would you have worried I'd leave for something better? Melissa realized she'd been managing someone whose excessive flower consultations were actually preventing wedding disasters and strengthening relationships. Within a month, Eternal Moments had restructured Isabella's role. She remained the head florist, but also became the chapel's first relationship coordinator, offering pre-marital guidance sessions disguised as comprehensive wedding planning consultations. The chapel partnered with local marriage counselors to provide Isabella with referral networks for couples needing ongoing support, and her detailed flower discussions became a selling point for couples seeking meaningful wedding planning experiences. David and Sarah Rodriguez, who successfully addressed their relationship issues and married with a beautiful sunflower and rose arrangement, became advocates for Isabella's unique approach to wedding planning. She didn't just arrange our flowers, Sarah explained to other couples. She helped us arrange our priorities. Melissa discovered that Isabella's relationship coaching had reduced wedding day disasters, decreased last-minute cancellations, and increased customer satisfaction ratings significantly. 6 months later, Isabella's dual role had prevented 12 wedding cancellations, helped 23 couples address serious relationship issues before marriage, and earned Eternal Moments recognition as San Antonio's most comprehensive wedding venue. Wedding planners throughout the city began referring couples to Isabella for flower consultations that everyone understood meant relationship guidance from an experienced professional. Isabella still arranged beautiful bouquets and centerpieces, but now she also helped couples build the emotional foundation their marriages deserved. Officially, David and Sarah Rodriguez returned for their first anniversary, commissioning Isabella to create an arrangement that told the story of their growth from a conflicted couple to partners who had learned to communicate effectively. You showed us that planning a wedding should strengthen a relationship, not strain it, David told Isabella. Our sunflowers still remind us to be loyal to who we really are. Isabella's story became a testament to recognizing professional value beyond job descriptions and understanding that sometimes the most important work happens when people feel safe enough to share their real concerns.